Be excellent to each other. And party on, dudes.
Bill and Ted Face the Music. Now, Bill and Ted Face the Music is the third film within the Bill and Ted franchise, and I think the last one came out 25 years ago. And in the film, Bill and Ted are a little bit older. I think they hit their 50s and they still have not written the song that's going to save existence and humanity. So now forces from the future approach them and tell them that they really need to pick up the pace, because if they don't finish the song soon, the world and existence as we know it is going to end.
No way!
So now enter Bill and Ted 3. And you know what? I was really worried about this film because, I mean, the first one is a legit classic, but if I'm being honest, I always preferred the second one. Bogus Journey was, as the title suggested, so bogus. No, it was hilarious. The set pieces were phenomenal. Death was one of the greatest characters ever. And I love the fact that this movie was surprisingly gritty, yet funny. It utilized every single crazy idea they had and turned it into something amazingly epic. And when I saw the first couple trailers to Bill and Ted 3, I was worried about a lot of things, because the recent development in Hollywood seems to be hell-bent on destroying every single franchise that I once loved. And I already saw in the trailer that they introduced daughters to Bill and Ted, so I was like, okay, so are these two gonna be our heroes? Are Bill and Ted just gonna suck ass? I'm here to tell you that is not fully the case. However, part of it did bother me. Let's talk about what I really liked about this movie first. Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter still have amazing chemistry, and they are the Bill and Ted that we remember. They are still lovable, moronic losers, but lovable first and foremost. They have great chemistry and they don't even have to try so hard to be funny. It's just their weird ass dialogue and the fact that they are so offbeat that makes it so funny. So once again, they work pretty well, and we already saw in the trailer that they run into different iterations of themselves from the future, and every single iteration worked perfectly. And now we enter the daughters, and you know what? Bill's daughter is played by Samara Weaving. She was fine, but Ted's daughter, Keanu Reeves' character's daughter, was so good. She was so good at imitating Keanu Reeves' role from the 80s. I was taken aback. I was like, she is amazing. So I immediately fell in love with her. Also, George Carlin, the great George Carlin, is no longer with us, but they do honor the character of Rufus in the film, which is something that I really appreciated. And they brought back Death. Death has always been one of my favorite characters, and every single time he steps onto the scene, he is once again great. However, I would have liked to see more of him. It kind of seems like an extended cameo, which is kind of a bummer, but better than to leave him out completely. And they introduce a new character, this robot, and I don't know, he looks cool, but there's this running joke with him that gets old very quickly. He keeps on reminding us that he has an actual name. And you know what? I didn't laugh once. I didn't laugh when it happened twice. And by the 30th time, I was like, why is this happening? And this movie runs into a couple problems that a lot of these sequels lately have. You know, sequels that came out years after the originals. And what I mean by that is that it sort of retcons aspects of the two previous installments, and I never like that. The jokes don't always land, and this movie doesn't necessarily provide us with anything super new. It basically tries to be a combination of the first two films. As you saw in the trailers, the daughters go back in time in order to gather prominent musical figures, very similar to the original one, where Bill and Ted captured historical figures for their presentation. Bill and Ted, however, intend to steal the song that they still have not written from their future selves, which in and of itself is a funny idea, but I believe they could have done something way more clever with it. And the way this movie ends is weird, because it just does. Like, we're literally approaching the climax and then it's done. I was like, oh, so it's over? Which seemed super anticlimactic. Overall, I gotta say, this movie is not a massive disappointment, but it's also not a massive hit. I could compare it to Zombieland 2. I could compare it to Ghostbusters 2. It's not as bad as Ghostbusters 16. It's not as bad as The Last Jedi. But it's also not an instant classic. And I don't think it's going to be remembered for being part of this franchise. Which is why I'm going to say that Bill and Ted Face the Music gets the bronze medal. It's an okay enough movie that you can pop in during a rainy Sunday. But other than that, just watch the originals. They are way better. So Bill and Ted Face the Music. Have you seen it? What did you think? Let me know in the comment section below. And thank you guys, as always, for watching. If you like what you see here and you want to see more, then just subscribe.